Has the fear of failure, embarrassment, or social disapproval kept you from doing something before? Perhaps it's still keeping you from doing something. Maybe you haven't asked that cute person out from work out of fear of rejection. Or you haven't danced when you kind of wanted to, sang in public when you really wanted to. You haven't learned a musical instrument or a new language or joined in on a sports game or even started a new business out of fear of how it will be perceived by others. If you've ever been in that situation before, and I think that's all of us, today's episode is for you. You are listening to What We Should Have Learned in School. I'm your host, Amy Leo, and we're trying something a little different this month, where not only am I going to post episodes to our podcast feed, but I'm going to also release these episodes in video format on YouTube. And this is really to kind of widen up the opportunities for folks to join our journey here at What We Should Have Learned in School. And so last month we talked all about the realm of love and relationships, and I offered to you the ability to join the 30 Days of Love Challenge. That is a co-effort with an organization called Intention Inspired. I still do recommend that you check that out if you haven't done so already. The reviews have been incredibly humbling, and what people are seeing is really useful and helpful as they move forward in their lives. So I'll put that link in the show notes below. Today, however, we are going to talk about the spotlight effect. So I so often meet folks who are really afraid to try something new or do something that they've always wanted to do. Maybe that's going on stage. Maybe it's public speaking at their job. It could be a whole host of things. And what the spotlight effect reminds us of is that nobody cares about us and what we look like and what we do more than us. We spend so much time thinking about our own problems, analyzing our own behaviors, worrying about our appearance and our body image, worrying about our bank account, that we think that other people are as invested in us as we are. We think that other people notice us as much as we notice what's going on. And research and common sense shows us that that's not really true. That everyone is really caught up in their own me-centered universe, and they could really care less about what we're doing. So the spotlight effect was a term coined in the mid-90s by a researcher named Thomas Gilovich. And he wanted to test this out. Like, how accurate are we when it comes to determining how much even people are noticing us in our everyday lives? So he took participants and he made them wear a huge Barry Manilow t-shirt. And he had them interrupt a group of people that were taking a questionnaire. Now, normally when we are late to something like a movie theater, a classroom, a meeting, we tend to think all eyes are on us and we become kind of hypersensitive to that. And so he created this situation again. The participant interrupted the class. Then he debriefed the participant and asked, how many people in that room do you think noticed your t-shirt? And the participants estimated around 50% actually noticed their Barry Manilow t-shirt. When they actually polled the folks in that room, it was about 25% that even noticed that the participant was wearing the Barry Manilow shirt in the first place. Then this experiment was run a second time, and this time, the participant got to choose a cool t-shirt. So it had like a picture of Bob Marley or Martin Luther King or Jerry Seinfeld. And again, the participant interrupted the room of people and then walked out and was asked how many people noticed your t-shirt. And again, the participant estimated around 50% noticed the t-shirt. When in actuality, they polled the group of people in that room, about 10% noticed the t-shirt. So this definitely shows that there is a really big disconnect between how much attention we think other people are paying to us versus how much they really are paying attention. And they've run a lot of these experiments on crowded streets in New York City, and no matter what condition it was, People thought that a large spotlight was kind of being shined on them, whether it was something they perceived they were doing that was embarrassing, or whether they spent an extra 15 minutes in the mirror getting ready or driving a really hot new car. People overestimate the amount of attention that other people pay to them. And so how is this helpful in your everyday life? Well, if there is something that you've wanted to do, but you are afraid of because of the reaction of other people, I invite you to really consider the truth that other people do not care as much as you think they do. Even when it comes to public performances like singing or giving a public speech, most people in the audience are not going to notice if you sing not exactly pitch perfect on one note, or they're not going to notice that you tripped over your words unless you bring attention to it by apologizing, putting yourself down after the show, and so on and so forth. So have fun with this today. Notice when you're going throughout your day and your week, how big that people around you's problems are to them, but even to you, how minuscule that they actually are. Haven't you ever met anyone like that? Perhaps it's been you from time to time. I think it's been me from time to time, where we talk to someone else as if they know our life story. Like I've talked to folks where they start listing all these names and all of this really personal information that, of course, I have no idea what they're talking about, right? But they don't make the connection that, of course, I am not living life through their vantage point. So for me, I don't know who they're talking about. And again, the problems aren't as relevant to me because I'm caught up in my own reality bubble over here. So we've got a bunch of people that are going through life in a really me-centered, egocentric way, thinking that other people are caring a lot about what they do when everyone is doing the same thing. Everyone's caring about themselves and how they look and how they're presented in the world. So have fun with this. This is a bit of a fun trick of the mind that really plays into our everyday life and that can really hold us back from experimenting and doing things that we want to do. I will see you again next week. Again, my name is Amy Leo. You can learn more about me and the work I do at amyleo.com. Until next time, stay curious, take care, and keep rocking. Also, YouTube is a really good example about this. I think there's like 300 hours of video published on YouTube every minute, which means people think that their videos have to be perfect and people are going to notice, but how many videos on YouTube actually go viral? How many stories on Facebook actually go viral, whether it's someone doing something embarrassing or it's something cute? But people don't tend to really think about or care about that much, right? You see an embarrassing video of someone and then a few moments later you're on to the next thing. So people really don't remember when we make mistakes as much as we remember when we make mistakes. And that's a really helpful thing to keep in mind as you go forward creating in your life.